Hello everybody, in this video we will be beginning with the chapter number 4 of ACCA F2 Management Accounting for Labor. Before watching this video, make sure that you have watched the previous chapters. In case you haven't, then I've linked it in the description box below. And before starting this video, make sure that you have a calculator with you and a paper and a pencil with you, so you'll be solving the questions along with me. So in this chapter we are basically focusing on accounting the labor. Labor is basically whatever is involved, the manpower that is involved in the production activity. These are the different methods which we'll be looking at. We'll be seeing how we are going to account for labor. So what are the labor costs, direct and indirect labor, calculating how much has the labor contributed in the production activity, how efficient is our labor, what is the labor turnover and stuff like that. So let's start with the remuneration methods. The first thing is the payroll department. So what is a payroll department? If you can recall, a payroll department is involved in carrying out functions that relate input labor costs to the work done. So payroll department basically gives the money, right? It basically carries out various sorts of functions, and those functions basically relate to the input labor costs to the work done. So what is the work which the payroll department does? The payroll department focuses on preparation of the payroll, right? So the preparation of the payroll involves calculating gross wages from time to time. So what is the gross wages? That is something which is carried out by our payroll department. The payroll department also calculates net wages. Now net wages is after deductions. There are certain sorts of deductions. When you deduct those things, that is when you are going to get your net wages, right? So since you already know what is your gross wages, you now know that net wages is something which, when you have further deductions from your gross wages, that's when you get your net wages, right? Next, the payroll department carries out an analysis of direct wages, indirect wages and the cash required for payments. So again, these are few more things which are required, which are done by the payroll department itself. So there are two basic approaches to remuneration. The first thing is the time related systems, wherein systems are based on time, and the second thing is output related system. Pause the video and try to read it. Okay. So now we have time related systems, and the second thing is output related systems. So these are the various types of systems using which you can basically calculate the salary or the wages which you are going to pay to your labor, right? So these now, that is what is remuneration. What is remuneration? Remuneration is what the employee basically pays to the employer, basically pays to the employee. So the first thing is a time related system. What do you understand by time related system? Time related system means that the employees are basically paid on the time basis. How much time they have put in the work, they are paid on the time basis. So if I worked for 2 hours, let's say I get 10 rupees. If I worked for 4 hours, then I'll be getting 20 rupees. So that is what is my time related system, wherein the consideration using which the remuneration is given is going to be your time. And then we have output related. Now output related means how much production have you done, or how much output have you worked on. You are paid on the basis of that. If I produce one good, I get 1 rupee. If I produce 2 goods, I get 2 rupees. If I produce 10 goods, no matter what the time you have taken, how much production you have done, that is if you're giving remuneration only on the basis of how much production you have done, that is your output related system. So these are my two remuneration methods. The first thing is my time related and the second thing is my output related. I hope you've understood this. So time related systems. So the time related systems, the most common remuneration method, and employees are paid a basic rate per hour, a day or month. Okay, so based on the timing the employees are paid. Time based systems do not on the whole provide any incentive for employees to improve productivity. So if I worked for, let's say I'm working for 1 hour and every 1 hour I get 10 rupees. Now, if I produce one good in 1 hour, I am getting 10 rupees. If I produce 100 goods in 1 hour, then also I am getting 10 rupees. So, do you think there is an incentive for me to be more efficient and be more productive? No. No matter how much hard work I put in, even if it's less or more, I am getting the same amount of remuneration. So, then why should I even bother working so much? Right? So, time based systems do not provide any incentive for employees to improve productivity, and close supervision is often necessary. Overtime can be paid at a premium if any extra hours are worked. What is overtime? If my working hours are 6 hours and if I work for 8 hours, then 2 hours premium must be paid, because if I am working overtime, there should be some kind of incentive in order for me to do that. We'll be seeing overtime later on. The formula for a time based system: total wages is total hours worked multiplied by basic rate pay per hour plus how much ever overtime you have worked multiplied by overtime premium per hour. Simple. Let's just write the formula. So by the end of this chapter we will also be ready with a formula sheet. Okay, so my remuneration, I hope you're writing it with me. So these are my remuneration methods. The first thing is time based, the second is output based. Okay, so if I'm doing time based, then what is my formula? Okay, so this is my total wages formula using the time based method. Moving on, a guaranteed minimum wage is often required due to minimum wage requirements. So the government of various countries usually has laws which guarantee minimum wage requirements for the workers. Methods for recording the length of time an employee spends working can include timesheets, time cards, job sheets. So these are the various kind of sheets which basically have a record of how much time an employee has spent. So using these I can record that. Time records. So what are time records? Time records, maintaining the records of the various time the workers have put in the work. It is essential that organizations employ relevant methods in both manufacturing and service industries that relate to the labor costs incurred to the work done. One of the ways in which this can be done is to make records of the time spent by employees doing jobs. Time recording is required both for payment purposes and also in determining the cost to be charged to specific job. Right. So how much cost has taken place and how much do I have to pay the employee, pay the worker. These are the things which will be identified when you start recording it in your time records. In many manufacturing industries, employees will be supplied with an attendance record. So attendance record will basically maintain the attendance of the workers. Such records are known as time cards, gate or clock cards, and are used to calculate wages and rates of pay. Plastic swipe cards directly linked to a central computer. So nowadays we have swipe cards even in schools, wherein there's an access card, you just swipe that and then your attendance gets marked. So that is my time record. Moving on, we're starting with activity time records. In activity time records, it is another method, and the work done and the costs incurred are recorded in the activity time records. Activity time records may either be period related or task related. So for every task or for every activity, it can be recorded like that, or it can also be recorded on the basis of every period, like in this period this much work has been done, and so on. So what are period related timesheets? Period related timesheets, so when I'm talking about period, I'm talking about specific time duration. So period related timesheets are commonly used in service industries. Service industries means wherein you provide various services to the clients. In that case, you can't really uh, you don't really have a product, it's a service which you are providing. In that case, you basically use to measure in the basis of using the basis of period. For example, in accountancy firms, where time spent working for different clients is analyzed, often to the nearest 15 minutes. So period related timesheets are records that may cover days, weeks, or sometimes it can even be like further longer period. There is no limit. It depends specifically to what kind of business we are making it for. What are task related activity timesheets? Task related activity time records are known as job sheets. So if there's an MCQ asking what is a job sheet, you should know that a job sheet is basically a task related activity sheet or a piecework ticket or operations chart. They are generally more accurate and reliable than time related activity, and they are essential when incentive schemes are in use. So this is a daily time sheet given over here. You have the name of the employee, when did they start, which department they're in, day, start, finish, time, how much they have produced. This is the supervisor's signature, how much time they have saved. So using this time sheet, you are basically calculating the pay which they deserve. Okay, so that was my time related system. Okay, now we move on to output related system. So output related system, as I've explained in the starting, it is based on the fact that how much production has been done by the person, that much they are going to be paid. So a piecework system, pays a fixed amount per unit produced. Per piece of production, a certain amount is being paid. So that is how it is done using a piecework system or an output related system. So the formula of the piecework is units produced multiplied by rate of pay per unit. Very simple. Per unit price will be given to you. You just have to multiply it with the total number of units. Then you get your total wages. A guaranteed minimum wage is often required due to minimum wage requirements. So either ways, whether you're doing the time related system or output related system, usually there is a minimum wage requirement. So that much has to be paid regardless of what the situation is. Piecework is often combined with a time-based system to provide an added incentive to the employees. So usually what the firms do is that they have a system which is a mixture of both the piecework system as well as the time-based system. So when you have a piecework system along with time, then there is an added incentive to the workers. As we have discussed earlier, that if you're using only the time-based system, then the workers don't really have any incentive to be more productive or efficient in the work which they are doing. So if you mix it along with your piecework system, in that case there is an added incentive. Okay, so what are the different types of piecework system? There are two types of piecework system. The first thing is a straight piecework system, and the second is my differential piecework system. Now what is a straight piecework system? The same rate is paid no matter how many units are produced. So a straight, for example, if this is my straight piecework system. If one unit is, let's say, 10 rupees, if you produce 100 units, you will get 1000 rupees. If you produce 1 lakh units, then also you will get like this only, 1 lakh multiplied by 10. So this is on the like how you are going to get your wages. Now what is differential piecework system? These systems are the most widely used piecework system and involve different piece rates for different levels of production. So what is differential piecework system? See, there's a rule in differential piecework system that, let's say, it is 1 rupee per production until you produce 1000 unit. If you are producing more than 1000 units, then for per unit you are going to get 10 rupees from 1000 units onwards. So a differential piece wage rate system is basically giving you another added incentive, right? So in the straight piecework system, the price of one good is going to remain constant, it's going to remain the same throughout. But in differential piece wage system, it basically motivates your workers, because until this level it is going to be this much, but if you are producing more than these many goods, from then on your per unit price is going to also increase. So that is my differential piece system. Okay. Okay, now we have illustration number 1. A company operates a piecework system of remuneration, but it also guarantees its employees 75% of a time based rate of pay, which is based on 19 per hour for an 8-hour working day. Each unit should take 3 minutes to produce. So that is the standard time. How much time does each unit take for production? Employees are paid based on the number of hours their output should have taken. Piecework is paid at the rate of 18 per standard hour. If an employee produces 200 units in 8 hours in a particular day, what is the employee's gross pay? Okay, so how are you going to find this out? Again, first let's see what is their minimum wage requirements. 75% is required based on 19 per hour on an 8-hour working day. Okay, so 19 per hour on an 8-hour working day is actually 152. So 152, and here it's written that 75% is guaranteed. So 75% of 152 is guaranteed, which is 114. I hope this much is clear how I did this. It's written over here that it guarantees 75% of 19 per hour in an 8-hour working day. So 19 multiplied by 8 will give you 152. 75% of that is 114. So that is something which is guaranteed. Okay. Moving on, each unit should take 3 minutes to produce. So 3 minutes are taken by each good to produce. Employees are paid based on the number of hours their output should have taken. Okay, so how much the output should have taken? 200 units multiplied by 3 minutes, right? So 200 units multiplied by 3 units is 600 minutes. So the standard time is basically 600 units. It should have taken 600 units. Keeping that on hold, piecework is paid at the rate of 18 per standard hour. Okay, for every hour you are getting 18. So 18 multiplied by 600 minutes, but you need to convert it into hour. So how much is 600 minutes? 600 divided by 60 will give you 10 hours. So how much is employee paid? Employees paid. See, you got to read the question carefully. The question basically says that employees are paid based on the number of hours their output should have taken. So the number of hours the outputs should have taken, the employee is basically paid on that basis only. We have calculated everything. So now 10 hours multiplied by 18 is going to give you 180. So what is my total answer over here? What is the employee gross pay? The employee's gross pay is 180. I hope you understood this. Take a moment and sink it. Okay. You might be wondering, why am I not considering this 114 anymore? See, 114 is my minimum. If my minimum is 114, my gross pay is 180. So 180 is more than 114, right? So I don't have to care about my minimum. If my gross pay would have been, let's say, 100, in that case I would have given my employees 114 since that is my minimum requirement. Okay, alright. So now this is a graph, test your understanding number 1. So the graph shows the wages earned by an employee during a single day. So output is here, the wages are also here. From this point onwards, the output, as my output is increasing, my wages also increasing. Now what is this? Try to understand and try to read the graph. Again, this is my wages and this is my output. Until here, the wage and the output was constant. The wage was constant. The wage wasn't increasing at all. Even if my production was increasing, my wage was the same. Suddenly, from this point onwards, my wage is also increasing, my production is also increasing. Is it differential piecework? No. Why? Because in differential piecework, it is an output based system. As my output increases, my wages were also increasing. But here you can see it was stagnant, first thing. Second thing, a flat rate per hour with a premium for overtime working. Okay, straight piecework. Straight piecework would not look like this. Straight piecework would mean that all the units are going to have the same price. Piecework with a guaranteed minimum wage rate. So the answer is D. Why is it D? Because the graph represents a piecework system, right? There's an upward sloping curve over here, that is my piecework system, and also this is basically my minimum wage. So no matter what, this much minimum wage must be there, and then followed by a piecework from here. Okay, so my answer is D. Incentive schemes. Now what is incentive schemes? Incentive schemes can be aimed at individuals or groups, right? So incentives means the benefits which are given by the people, right? The benefits which are given to your employees. Those things are known as your your incentives. So there are various incentive schemes by the firms. They do that to give benefits to the workers. So general rules. They should be closely related to the effort expanded by employees. So whatever efforts are given by the put up by the employees, the incentive should be based on that. They should be agreed by employers before being implemented. So before you are implementing any kind of incentive, that should be approved and accepted by the employees and by the employers. They should be easy to understand and simple to operate. Whatever incentive you are planning for the company, it should be easy. It should be a simple task to operate that. They must be beneficial to all those employees taking part in the scheme. So whichever employee is basically affected by the incentive which is being introduced, they all should be taken into consideration, and they all must have some sort of benefit using that incentive. Most bonus schemes pay a basic time rate plus portion of the time saved as compared to some agreed allowed time. So what are bonus schemes? If you are completing the given work in lesser time than as it should have taken, in that case a bonus is paid to you. Why? Because you have saved some time. So what are the name of the bonus schemes? The name of the bonus schemes are premium bonus plans. Now what are the examples? Let's say the employee receives 50% of the time saved. So the bonus would be time allowed. So initially how much time was allowed, from that how much time he has taken. So that basically gives you the time saved divided by 2 multiplied by the time rate. So this is why am I dividing it by 2? Because in the question it is given that the employee receives 50% and 50% is 1 by 2, that is why. The proportion paid to the employee is based on the ratio of the time taken to time allowed. So this is the proportion which is basically paid to the employee. Bonus is equal to time taken upon time allowed multiplied by time rate and time saved. We will be doing questions on this. Okay, next is measured day work. So what is measured day work? Measured day work is the concept of this approach is to pay a high time rate, but this rate is based on an analysis of the past performance. Initially, a work measurement is used to calculate the allowed time per unit. This allowed time is compared to the time actually taken in the past by the employee, and if this is better than the allowed time, an incentive is agreed. So you compare the day's work with the previous work and you see the improvement in that. For example, the employee's allowed time is 1 hour per unit, and that the average time taken by an employee over the last 3 months is 50 minutes. If the normal rate is 12 per hour, then an agreed incentive rate of 14 per hour could be used. Okay. Share of production. So when you are having production, the share of production, how much share of production is done by the particular worker. So that is another method, right? Share of production plans are based on acceptance by both management and labor representatives of a constant share of value added for payroll. Thus, any gains in value added, whether by improved production performance or cost savings, are shared by employees in this ratio. Okay. Now we have another illustration on incentive schemes. The following data relates to job A. Employee's basic rate is 4.80 per hour. Allowed time is 1 hour. Time taken for job A is 36 minutes. The employee is paid the basic rate for the allowed time for the job, and then bonus paid on any time saved. Calculate the, where is it again? Just a second. The bonus is calculated based on calculate the total payment for job A. Now what is the formula of bonus? Bonus is time taken divided by time allowed multiplied by time saved multiplied by time rate. This is the formula of the bonus. Now you just have to substitute it. Time taken was 36 divided by time allowed, 1 hour was allowed, so 60 minutes were allowed, multiplied by time rate. Now what is time rate? Time rate is the basic rate. So time rate is 480 per hour, but since everything is in minutes, you will divide it by 60 because you are also doing it in minutes, right? So time rate would be 4.80 per hour divided by 60 multiplied by the time which you have saved. So you have saved 60 minus 36, which is 24. By doing this, you are basically getting okay 1.15. So my bonus is 1.15, but what is my basic rate? My basic rate is 4.80. Adding this, I get 5.95. So you're just directly using the formula of the bonus, which is time taken upon time allowed multiplied by the time rate multiplied by my time saved, and then you are adding basic rate to it. Simple.